There's a new kind of customer walking through the door. They don't ask questions, they make statements. They don't browse, they quote. And they don't want advice, they just want confirmation. You can spot them instantly, phone in hand, video paused, screenshot ready. They walk straight up to you and say, "Do you have this? I saw it on TikTok." And that's when you know you're not dealing with a shopper anymore, you're dealing with a believer. Welcome back to Real Retail. Today we're talking about the TikTok shopper, or social media shopper, because it's not necessarily just TikTok. The modern customer who treats all social media like a product catalogue, a review site, and a moral compass all at one. Because somewhere all along the way, retail stopped being about what actually works and started about what went viral. There was a time when customers asked staff for advice. Now they ask TikTok. They'll show you a video of somebody pouring detergent into a dishwasher and say, "It worked for her, so why didn't it work for me?" They'll quote a creator who said that a certain brand is life-changing and treat that as though it's scientific evidence. You stood there thinking, "I've worked here for years, if not decades. I've seen the product fail, succeed, and everything in between. But sure, let's trust somebody who's filmed this in the kitchen for likes." It's not arrogance, it's conditioning. Social media has trained people to believe that confidence equals credibility. If somebody says it with enough enthusiasm, it must be true. And retail workers are left trying to bridge the gap between online excitement and offline reality. Every few weeks, something new goes viral. A cleaning spray, a snack, a gadget, a random item that's been sitting quietly on the shelf for years, and it suddenly becomes the holy grail. And overnight, everybody wants it. You'll see customers rush in, breathless, saying, "I saw this online, everybody's buying it." They don't ask what it does, they don't ask if it's any good. They just want it because it's trending. And when it's sold out, they'll look at you like it's personally your fault. The irony of it is that half the time, the product isn't even that special. It's been gathering dust on the shelves. It's just been framed perfectly, good lighting, catchy music, and a confident voiceover. That's all it takes now to turn a shelf item into a cultural event. Influencers have become basically the new retail experts. They don't just recommend products, they define them. If an influencer says a product is a must-have, customers treat it like it's a command. And if they say it's terrible, sales drop overnight, or even refunds, because it can't be good if they've said it's not. And the funniest part, most influencers aren't trying to mislead anybody. They're just sharing their experience. But the audience doesn't hear personal opinion. They hear a universal truth. So when a customer walks in quoting a creator, they're not asking for advice, they're basically seeking validation. They want the store to confirm what the video told them, and in reality, it doesn't match the video. They assume that you're lying or the store is wrong. That's the power of influence. And it's not about facts, it's all about feelings. So for retail workers, the TikTok shopper or social media shopper is both fascinating and exhausting. You're dealing with people who arrive already convinced. They've done the research, and that means watching 3 videos and reading 1 comment, so it must be true. They don't want to hear nuances. They don't want to hear your agreement. They just want to hear exactly what that influencer said. And when you try to explain that the product doesn't work that way, or that the video was slightly misleading, they look at you like you're like gatekeeping the product. It's a strange reversal. The person with real world experience is treated like, well, like they're an unreliable source. And the person who filmed a 30-second clip in their bedroom is treated like they're a world authority on it. Retail has always been about communication, but now it's about translation. Translating viral content into reality. It doesn't just show people products, it shows them themselves. The algorithm learns what they like, what they buy, what they react to. It feeds them content that feels personal. So when they see a product online, it doesn't feel like advertising. It feels like destiny. They think, this was obviously meant for me. Why haven't I bought this before? This will change my life. And that's why they walk in confident. They're not just following a trend, they're following a feeling. Retail workers end up with customers who believe the product is part of their identity. It's not just something they want, it's something they need to prove about themselves, basically. That's powerful and also quite dangerous. Because when identity and consumption merge, logic disappears. So here's the truth. Most viral products are fine. Some are great, some are terrible, but none of them are magic. Retail workers see the full picture. They see the hype, the disappointment, and the returns. You'll see somebody buy a product with absolute conviction, like a year's supply, then come back 2 days later saying, it didn't work for me like it did on the video, so I want a refund. And you have to resist the urge to say, of course it didn't. It's cleaning spray. It's not a miracle. But you don't say that. You stay professional. You process the return. And you smile. And you quietly add social media to your mental list of retail archetypes. So the social media shopper isn't going anywhere. They'll move from one trend to the next, chasing the next viral promise. And retail will keep adapting, because every time a new product blows up online, stores have to react, restock, reprice, and re-educate the staff to handle the surge. It's a constant cycle of hype versus reality. And somewhere in that cycle, retail workers become the stabilising force. The ones who quietly remind people that not everything online translates to real life. That's the job now. Not just selling, but grounding. Behind every viral product is a person who just wants to feel part of something. That's what social media does best. It creates belonging. People don't buy the product because they need it. They buy it because it connects to them, to a community. They want to be part of a conversation. They want to post their own video. They want to be seen, to feel the same as the person creating the video. They want to be part of that team or that community. And retail workers, whether they realise it or not, they're part of the process. They're the ones who make the trend tangible. We turn digital excitement into the physical reality. That's a crazy, strange kind of responsibility if you think about it. There's a moment every retail worker They have basically, the moment you realise you're not selling products anymore, you're selling experiences. And that started online. You're part of a feedback loop between social media and reality. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing how customers talk like creators. They use phrases like life hack and game changer. They film themselves buying things, making you unwilling cast members of their latest film. They narrate their own shopping trip like it's content. Retailers become performative, and staff are like the supporting cast. Social media might drive sales, but it doesn't replace experience. So the TikTok shopper reminds us that retail isn't just about what's popular, it's about what's real. Because when the trends fade and the videos disappear and the hype dies down, that product still needs to work, and the staff still have to deal with what's coming in the aftermath. Retail is where the truth lives. It's where the viral promise meets the physical world. It's where the lighting isn't perfect, the angles aren't flattering, and the results, they're honest. And that's what makes retail powerful. It's reality and not a performance. So when the hype dies and the shelves basically are empty, the shelves tell a story. You see the leftovers, the products that didn't live up to the promise. You see the reductions, the clearance stickers, and the quiet end of the latest trend. And you realise something important. Retail doesn't chase trends, it survives them. Every viral moment becomes a clearance label. Every must-have becomes a, oh, do you remember when? And every TikTok shopper moves on to the next obsession. But the staff hopefully stay. The shelves stay. And the reality definitely stays. That's the rhythm of retail. Hype, chaos, calm, rinse and repeat. So retail workers develop like a sixth sense for trends. You can tell which ones will last and which ones will vanish. You can feel it in the way customers talk about them. If they say, everyone's buying this, you know it'll fade. If they say, I've used this for years, you kind of think, well, you kind of know it'll stay. That's the difference between hype and habit. And that's why retail workers are quietly the best trend analysts in the world. We see what people actually buy, not what they post about. But there's humour in the chaos. Watching somebody quote a TikTok video like it's a scientific paper, seeing a customer film themselves buying something and then basically return it because it didn't go viral enough. Hearing someone say, I saw this hack online, and knowing instantly it's just going to go badly. Retail teaches you patience, but it also teaches you comedy, because sometimes the only way to survive the absurdity is laugh at it. Retail isn't fighting social media, it's adapting to it. Stores are learning to use trends instead of resist them. They're creating displays for viral products. They're using hashtags in signage, as cringeworthy as that is. They're turning hype into opportunity. And that's smart, because ignoring the digital world doesn't make it go away. It just makes you kind of irrelevant. But the trick is balance, using the energy of social media without losing the authenticity of retail. The TikTok shopper isn't the enemy. They're just the next stage of evolution. They're curious, connected, impulsive, and they're emotional. And they remind us that shopping has always been about stories. It's just that now those stories are filmed vertically. Retail workers aren't just serving customers anymore, they're part of the narrative. With a reality check inside the fantasy. There's quiet satisfaction in being the person who actually knows the truth. You watch trends rise and fail, and you stay steady. You're the constant. You see the chaos, you see the hype, you see the confusion, and you keep the store running. That's the beauty of retail. It's not glamorous, it's not viral, but it's real. And in the world obsessed with filters and edits, being real is revolutionary. So thanks for watching Real Retail. The TikTok shopper might believe everything that they see online, but retail reminds us the truth is still what matters. Because when trends fail, the shelves stay honest.